Hey class, welcome back to Chapter 10, Statistics. Today we'll be looking at Exercise 10b, Measures of Spread. So when you think of spread, I hope that your brain goes to slathering a warm slice of toast with butter, okay? And you want to spread that toast from edge to edge. In statistics, we're looking at all of the data, so from edge to edge or from the smallest values to the largest values, okay? So when we talk about measure of spread, we are typically looking at the range, okay? It's the most common measure of spread, in which we subtract the smallest data from the largest data in the set, okay? We can also use the interquartile range, the IQR, to describe the data, or the spread of data. The interquartile range, so quartile means there's 4 of them. I break it up into 4 pieces. So if I sort of sketch that into here, this is a dodgy looking quarter. Okay, I've split something up into 4 quarters, and the inter, I'm looking at the middle too. So I'm looking at the range of the middle 50% of the data set. Okay, and we'll talk more about Q1, Q3, Q4, Q0, Q2, etc. in a moment. These 5 numbers, so our minimum, our median of the lower half of the data, our median of all of the data, our median of the upper half of the data, and Q4, our maximum, and what we call our 5-number summary. Okay, we're going to today calculate the 5-number summary, or find the 5-number summary of this data set, and then consequentially calculate the range and the interquartile range. So your first step when doing this should be to order the data. So starting from the smallest number, we have the number 2, which appears twice. Okay, there are no 3s in the data. We have 4s, and there's only one of them. The number 5 appears 1, 2, 3 times, so I'm going to write 5 3 times. The number 6 appears twice. There is no 7 in the data. We do have 8, which appears twice. There is no 9. We do have a 10, and an 11, and a 12, and a 13, and finally a 14. Your next step is going to be to split the data into quartiles. So the first thing I will do is locate the median. So that's the number right in the middle. You can count in from either edge, okay? Or we can count how many pieces of data there are. To recap that, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 numbers in the data set. We add 1 to it to get 16, and then divide by 2 to get the 8th number. So what this tells us is that the median is the 8th number in the data. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll highlight that. The number 6 is our Q2, okay, which is going to be referred to as only the median x squiggly bar in future, okay? So we will basically only use Q0, Q2, and Q4 this year. So don't get into too much of a habit of that, okay? So we have our median. We now need to split either half of the data in half again. So I'll switch pens. Let's go purple. Okay. So I've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of data on either side of the median. And because the median is a number in the data, we do not include it in our next lot of calculations. If the median was in the middle of 2 pieces of data, so if it was here between these 2 6s, then both 6s, because neither of them are technically the median, we would include those in each of the halves, okay? We put a box around it and we block it out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 plus 1 is 8 over 2. We're looking at the 4th number from each end. So the 1, 2, 3, 4. This number 5 is our Q1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4 is Q3. Okay, so we've split our data into 2 quarters. or into 4 quarters, sorry. And then finally, we can really quickly and easily identify our minimum, Q0, which in future will not be called Q0, it will only be referred to as the minimum, and the maximum, okay, which for the sake of today is going to be called Q4. We're now going to state our results. So we write Q0 equals 2, Q1 equals 5, Q2 equals 6, Q3 equals 11, and Q4 equals 14. Okay, so there we have our 5-number summary. Our minimum, we've literally split the lower half of the data. It's important to work from the middle out. Okay, so we start with the median and then the median of either half. If the median is included in the data, do not include it in either half. So we effectively just block this out. Okay, if it is not included, if we were to split the data in half, okay, down where that slightly dashed line is, then we would include 6, 8, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 as the upper half, and we would calculate the median accordingly, and same on the other side. Okay. And then identify your minimum and maximum. Our last step now is to calculate the range. So the range, which we can call just R if you would like, is going to be given by Q4, so our maximum minus our minimum, Q0. 14 minus 2 is 12. So the range of our data is 12. What that means is that the difference between our largest and smallest values in this data set is 12. Our interquartile range, which is more representative of the data, especially when we have outliers, is going to be given by Q3 minus Q1. So we have 11 minus 5. Okay, and 11 minus 5 is 6. So that is half the size of the range, which kind of makes sense because we're looking at half the data. Okay, so what that tells us is that 50% of the data lies within this range of 5 to 11, so 6 points different from each other. 50% of the data, so the majority of the data, lies within the interquartile range. That concludes today's lesson, guys. As always, if you have any questions, let me know, but if not, good luck with the work, and I will speak to you all very soon.